Let me ask you something. Have you ever told yourself, it's too late now? Too late to change? Too late to start? Too late to fix something that matters? Maybe it was a dream you left behind years ago. Maybe it's a language you always wanted to learn, or a person you wish you'd reached out to. We all do this. We tell ourselves, if I didn't do it before, I probably never will. But what if that's not true? What if late is still better than never? In today's episode of Luna's English podcast, we're going to explore that exact idea. I'll share real moments from my own life, mindset shifts that helped me move forward, and small powerful truths that just might give you the courage to try again, even if it feels like the clock has run out. Because maybe, just maybe, your too late is actually the perfect time to begin. Why do we feel like we missed our chance? Let's start here. Why do we feel that if we didn't start something earlier, we shouldn't start it at all? I think it's because we live in a culture that celebrates youth, speed, and success that comes early. We admire child prodigies, young entrepreneurs, people who seem to figure it out before the rest of us. So when we're older, even just a little, we feel behind. We compare ourselves to others and assume we've failed before we've even started. But here's something powerful. Life isn't a race. And some of the most meaningful things you'll ever do won't happen on anyone else's timeline. They'll happen on yours. When you're ready. And when you decide it matters more than your fear. But what if I wasted too much time already? This is a question I've asked myself more than once. When I look back at the years I spent procrastinating, doubting myself, or being afraid to try, it can feel like I lost precious time. And yes, I did lose some time. But I've learned that shame over the past doesn't change it. What changes the future is what you do now. The truth is, time will pass anyway. You can either keep wishing you'd started earlier, or you can start today and be proud of yourself tomorrow. It's okay to grieve the time you lost, but it's not okay to let that stop you from moving forward. You still have time, and that time still matters. Why starting late can actually be an advantage. I know that sounds strange, but hear me out. When you start something later in life, you often bring more wisdom to the table. You're not chasing trends or rushing to impress others. You're doing it for you. Whether it's learning a language, writing a book, going back to school, or finally prioritizing your health, you're more thoughtful now. You know more about yourself. You've failed before and survived. So, in many ways, starting late isn't a weakness, it's a strength. You're not just starting, you're starting with experience, and that can change everything. The quiet power of taking one small step. When we feel like we're late to the party, we often think we have to catch up, fast. We put pressure on ourselves to do everything perfectly. But the truth is, change doesn't come in a single leap. It comes in steps. Gentle, ordinary steps. One today, one tomorrow. That's it. When I finally started making real progress in my own goals, it wasn't because I made some huge dramatic change. It was because I made one small decision and stuck with it. That's how we build trust in ourselves. Not by being perfect, but by being consistent, quietly, kindly. But what will people think? This question has stopped so many people from starting over. Maybe you're worried that others will judge you, especially if your dream seems unrealistic or too ambitious. I get it. We all want to be taken seriously. But here's the thing. Other people are not living your life. You are. And if you spend your time worrying about their opinions, you'll never do what's right for you. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to truly focus on your decisions. So let them think whatever they want. And you go after the thing that matters to your heart. The myth of the perfect time. We love the idea of perfect timing. We tell ourselves, I'll start when I'm ready, when life calms down, when things line up just right. But here's what I've learned. There is no perfect time. Life is always going to be messy. You'll never feel fully ready. And that's okay. What matters is starting anyway. Even if it's awkward, even if it's slow, even if you don't know exactly where it's going. Because movement, any movement, creates momentum. And momentum is what keeps you going. Your journey doesn't have to look like anyone else's. This is something I wish more people understood. Your path will look different from your friend's path, or your co-workers, or your siblings. And that's not a problem. That's the beauty of it. You don't need to follow someone else's timeline or strategy. You just need to be honest with yourself. What do you want? What does your version of success look like? When you stop copying others and start following your own rhythm, that's when things get really powerful. Even if it's late, even if it's slow, it's yours. Forgiving yourself for the delay. Sometimes the hardest part isn't starting. It's forgiving yourself for not starting sooner. We can carry so much guilt around, guilt for what we didn't do, who we didn't become, what we let slip away. But carrying that guilt doesn't make us better. It makes us stuck. What helps is this: compassion. Kindness toward the past version of you who didn't know what you know now. That version of you was doing their best. And you're doing your best now. That's what matters. When progress feels invisible. Have you ever started something, a goal, a new habit, a dream, and felt like nothing was happening? Like your effort didn't matter? This is where many people give up, but please don't. Progress often happens silently, under the surface, like seeds planted in the soil. You don't see them growing at first, but they are. Keep watering them. Keep showing up. Eventually, things will break through the surface. Not because you rushed, but because you stayed. Letting go of age limits. There's this belief in many cultures that if you haven't done something by a certain age, it's too late. But I completely disagree. I've seen people fall in love at 60, change careers at 50, learn a new language at 70. The idea that we're only valuable when we're young is just wrong. You're not expired, you're evolving. And honestly, the older you are, the more stories, lessons, and depth you bring to anything you do. That's not a disadvantage, that's a gift. The courage to begin again. It takes real courage to begin again, especially when you've failed before. Or when you've told people, I'm done with this, and then changed your mind. But there's something deeply human and deeply beautiful about trying again. It shows strength, it shows hope, it shows that you still believe there's more ahead for you. And there is. Every time you begin again, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. That makes you powerful. Tiny daily choices create big life shifts. One thing I've noticed, in my own journey and in others, is that life doesn't change in one big moment. It changes in small, repeated choices. Choosing to go for a walk. Choosing to turn off distractions. Choosing to try again today, even after yesterday didn't go well. Those choices add up. They build momentum. And slowly, gently, they shape the life you want. So if you're starting late, just focus on your next tiny choice. That's all you need. Better late than never, but also better now than later. You've probably heard the phrase better late than never. And yes, it's true. But I want to add something. Better now than even later. Because the longer we wait, the heavier the fear becomes, the more doubts we collect, the more energy we lose. So if there's something on your heart today, something you've been delaying, let this be your sign. You don't have to be fast. You just have to begin. And today is a really good day to begin. So, what now? As we come to the end of this episode, I want to leave you with one simple question. What is something you've been putting off that still matters to you? It could be small, or it could be something big. Either way, I hope today reminded you that you haven't missed your chance. You haven't wasted your life. You are not too late. In fact, you're right on time for your story. So take the first step, or the next one. I'm cheering you on. Thanks for spending this time with me. I'm so glad you did.